In 2002 and 2003, I failed dismally. In fact, looking back at my life, the two failures I experienced during this period are arguably the biggest failures I have ever achieved. Yes, I know I achieved a failure, and I'm totally proud of those failures. Hello, welcome to the Half Hour with Jonah Mungoshi, and today we are talking failing forward. Let me take you back to the year 2002. So there I was, August 2002, in a massive auditorium in San Antonio, Texas, in the US of A, in front of an audience of about 2,000 people. Boy, was I going to dazzle them with my brilliance. I'd prepared a knockout speech. I was ready to mesmerize them with my eloquence, and I was sure I would walk away the world champion of public speaking for 2002. So sure was I that moments before I went on stage, I had phoned my boss at my old workplace. I was then an executive in one of the major banks in this country, and I told my boss that I'm resigning from my job because in a matter of hours, I will be crowned the world champion of public speaking, and I'm sorry, but I won't need that job because I'll be in demand to speak to audiences throughout the world. Well, what happened? They started by announcing the winner in third place, and then second place, and then first place. I hadn't made it first, so I wasn't the world champion of public speaking. I hadn't made it in second place, so I wasn't the runner-up. I was the second runner-up. I had come third in the World Championship of Public Speaking, and boy, was I crushed. I actually cried. I literally shed tears because there's a world of difference between number one and number three. Let's talk about 2003. I worked for it. I rehearsed. I practiced. I even changed my diet regime. I went on endurance training just to be ready for it. What was I preparing for? I was preparing for breaking the Guinness World Record for the longest talk. And in April of 2003, I spoke non-stop for 36 hours in an attempt to break the Guinness World Record. And I was totally proud of myself when I achieved that monumental feat. Well, I then submitted my claim to Guinness World Record, supported by the report from all the assessors. We had been taking turns to attend the speech and to note down that I was adhering to the guidelines. Guinness then came back to me and they said, well done for speaking for 36 hours. That's amazing. But unfortunately for you, someone in India has spoken for 52 hours. I was crushed. Have you ever failed at that level? Have you attempted something so big, so massive, that you wonder whether you'll be able to survive the failure? Well, in the space of 2 consecutive years, I had achieved 2 monumental failures. So why am I proud of them? Because I have since learned that failure is the breakfast of champions. There's an urban legend that Elon Musk, before he went on his amazing journey as an entrepreneur, he decided to live on $1 a day, $1 a day. And he realized that he could actually survive on $1 a day. And he said, once I realized that, I was able to venture into any business that I wanted because I knew even if the worst comes to the worst, I could live on $1 a day. You look at Strive Masiwa, we all know the success he has achieved as a business person. But how many of you know that he actually achieved some failures before he got to where he is? And yet most of us are so scared of failure that we won't venture to do those things that give us a chance to achieve success. So this is what I'm talking about today. Failing forward. If you analyze it, you realize that although I failed big time, I had not gambled. I didn't emerge from the failure owing anybody anything. So there's a wise way of attempting your big ventures, your big, hairy, audacious goals, BHAG, and there's a foolish way of doing it. The foolish way is to gamble. The wise way is to do it big time, but with minimum risk. So this is what I'll be talking about. Join me on the other side as we unpack this topic, failing forward.